Hey everyone, welcome to this weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast for the week of September 16th to the 22nd of 2024. All right, so this week, a bit of a quieter week compared to last week, but of course we're still in the transformative energies of this solar eclipse season. We did just have that lunar eclipse last week, and that definitely added to a lot of the shifts and changes that we've likely felt this part of the month, and what's still really good to implement this week. But the aspects are a bit quieter, again, coming off of the lunar eclipse. It is a great week to start to implement any new insights from the lunar eclipse last week. We will be in the third quarter moon of this lunar cycle, which is really good for action, being proactive, and really implementing those lessons or experiences or, again, things we've wanted to make some shifts and changes with. But with the aspects, we've got Mercury, really the only planet in aspect this week for the most part. A little bit Mars later in the week. But Mercury is going to be forming this kite formation with those outer planets. So it's going to be trining both Uranus and Pluto and opposite Neptune, basically the same kite we saw with the lunar eclipse. So this could play some themes around maybe communication, maybe getting outside of our comfort zone a little bit with learning, with sharing information, with communication, maybe a little bit of social energy as well. It can be quite deep as well, I think, in a good way, some depth to our communications and our understanding of things. Typically a good time to maybe research or uncover things with this aspect to Neptune and or with Pluto. And in this case, with an opposition up to Neptune, finding, again, the balance between doing and being. Work and rest, the physical and the spiritual. This has really been the main theme for the lunar eclipse, and that's certainly still the case this week. And I think anything that does combine that spiritual and physical worlds, what's important on a soul level and what's important on a physical level, is a great way of working with this week, as it has been. And then the week ends with Mars trining Saturn, quite a supportive aspect here where maybe we're feeling a little bit responsible and disciplined going into next week. And next week will, of course, be the solar eclipse, starting some new beginnings with transformation. All right, so let's go and take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here's the sky for this week. We're going to look at this for each day of the week, starting first with Monday, September 23rd. And as you can see here, we are using the visible sky on this channel, which is very different from mainstream astrology. In mainstream, unfortunately, they are using mostly the seasons in the West, and this isn't where the planets actually are. So the sign placements are different. For example, if you're thinking that maybe Venus should be in Libra, then definitely check out that link down below for more information on using the visible sky called True Sidereal Astrology. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's look at things visually here. So again, this week we are in the eclipse season still. We had that lunar eclipse last week, around midweek last week. And this is now a week of implementing those insights. So anything that was transformative last week, any new insights you gained, anything you've wanted to make some shifts and changes with along the life journey, and probably in the context of bringing in more peace, more mental health, spiritual health, more soul fulfillment in your life, this is an excellent week to incorporate that. And that's, of course, because we had that lunar eclipse in Pisces, which has been all about incorporating more of that receptivity. But this week, we now have all the fast movers, aside from Mars here, in Virgo. And so here we've got, of course, the opposite to Pisces, right? And that's what I was saying earlier, that while it is a great time to cultivate our soul needs, more spiritual and mental health, of course, we need to ground that in the physical world. And so Virgo, with all these planets here, yes, it's a fantastic time to be focused on basically what we have control over, right? So ourselves, our personal development, our immediate environment, routines, good habits, maybe diets, physical health improvement kind of stuff. And I think, again, this helps ground the spiritual health, because in order to have good spiritual and mental health, of course, we need good physical health, and we need to, of course, ground that in the physical world through maybe our routines or our work or our service. So this is definitely the theme right now, is improvement, refinement, striving towards a healthy level of perfection in terms of what we do have control over in our life, while letting go of what we don't have control over with Pisces. So this is all the theme with Virgo at the moment, and we're connecting this way in our relationships. Great to be improving, refining our relationship life, connecting with others that are into improvement and refinement themselves. We're now thinking this way more with Mercury, who's recently entered into, basically now coming into this week, Sunday, Monday, and the Sun, who's already been here for a little bit of time here. So Virgo improvement, definitely the main theme to cultivate. And Mars is in Gemini, of course, fully well set at this point. So when it does come to our actions and assertiveness, there is this kind of mercurial, curious, interested, and likely social kind of energy. At least it's really good to channel it this way. So if there's anything that you feel like you want to be proactive with in your life that either deals with study or learning, maybe deals with communication or some social energy, maybe some business, trade, or other very practical kinds of things, it's excellent right now with Mars here. And that's really the theme this week. As I said, the main aspects this week are with Mercury, who is now configured with the kite, which is the trine up to Uranus and Pluto, and the opposition up to Neptune. So this is happening here about midweek here, this Tuesday through Thursday time, probably emphasizing themes around learning, curiosity, and communication. So leading into this, though, we do have the moon in Taurus, both Monday and Tuesday. And by the way, we're coming off of maybe some deeper connections, deeper insights from the weekend coming off of this Venus square Pluto that we had. And so anything about Monday that's about integrating maybe a deeper connection to what we value in life, maybe a deeper connection to our relationships, I think is fantastic. But the main theme here for both Monday and let's say the first half of Tuesday is really around Taurus, where the moon will be. So good to really cultivate a bit of groundedness in our life, some stability. Taurus reminds us of the importance of connecting to our inner and outer resources in life. So it can be a great time to connect to inner resources like things that require our natural gifts, natural talents, self-worth, self-value, self-reliance, and the external resources too as well. Good time to maybe connect to nature, maybe have a good meal. Some of that sensual life is great here. So that's going to be, the sort of backdrop there, both Monday and Tuesday. Now, as we do get into the later part of Tuesday, the moon will shift into Gemini, again adding to that mercurial energy, where we do have Mercury in aspect. So it's definitely the main theme here. Being interested, being curious, being open-minded. Good to get outside the comfort zone, particularly on Tuesday when Mercury trines up to Uranus. And this could be great for maybe learning new things, thinking outside the box, having a bit of an innovative mind, maybe mixing up the routine here a little bit as well. And then as we do get into the Wednesday time, the opposition to Neptune really reminds us of that importance of balancing out the being and doing polarities that we're talking about between Pisces and Virgo. And these are the rulers. So Neptune rules Pisces, Mercury rules Virgo. It's a very similar energy. So our minds might, maybe want to go into the ethers a little bit. There could be some maybe dreamy, idealistic energy, maybe getting too caught up into the soul, dreamy, etheric world. And so, of course, grounding that, right? Good time for spiritual activities, good time for maybe creativity or healthy forms of imagination, grounding our intuition, our spiritual connection to life. And finding healthy ways of rest and relaxation, healthy ways of going with the flow, really, when it comes to that day-to-day life that both Mercury and Gemini really represent here. And as we get into Thursday, we'll still have the moon in Gemini here, the early part. Again, same themes here, but here maybe a bit of a deeper mind and deeper communications with Mercury trining Pluto. So a bit of depth, intimacy, trust, things like this. Not so much in the deeper relationships as much as it's just kind of like in the everyday kind of sphere, maybe through work or business or everyday dealings. But of course, having this more willingness to maybe dive deep with things or those communications and maybe research things, uncover the deeper world. Good time for research, the occult, the hidden, all of that mental depth can be fantastic there as well. All right, so I'm kind of getting into it a little more detailed than it needs to be. I would say this whole, Tuesday through Thursday, just a great time to be interested, curious, open-minded, maybe a little bit willing to exchange with others, and this can make it a very, very constructive phase of the really lunar eclipse cycle that we're in, or the eclipse season that we're in. And again, it is really this kind of Tuesday, Wednesday that we're really, it's good to challenge ourselves. Now, we've been in this lunar cycle for 3 weeks now, and so we're willing to do that usually in the third quarter. We're willing to put in the action, be proactive, and really ground things. But so it doesn't really need to be said, but just know it could be a week of a lot of things manifesting. Again, anything that you made some shifts with last week can really be manifesting this week. And again, setting the intention to move that energy forward and probably noticing it moving forward and things starting to come to their sort of short-term manifestation here probably midweek. All right, and then the rest of the week is a little bit, again, a little quieter. We're going to start to end the current lunar cycle as we get into next week. The new lunar cycle will be with the solar eclipse on Wednesday, okay? But, mostly towards the weekend, we may notice that sort of energy dying down a little bit. The moon will be in Cancer late Thursday and all day Friday. Cancer places the theme around protectiveness, creating a protective environment for ourselves and others. Maybe these couple days here, noticing some themes around connecting to our feelings, our emotions, our family-like connections, reflecting on the past a little bit, just getting a little more into that caring, nurturing, and protective energy, and maybe some themes around that can be great. And then as we do get into Saturday and Sunday, nice to see the moon in Leo, which is really ending, again, the lunar cycle that we're in now. It was really about self-expression. And though a lot has changed, I think, with the Pisces, the spiritual, and the Virgo, the more improvement oriented, remembering that this whole past lunar month really was about developing our self-expression. It started in Leo. And so if there's anything to wrap up with that over this weekend, doing things that we love, spending time with the people we love, a little bit more of this heart-connected, self-expressive, creative kind of energy, I think is great. And again, more in a kind of lower energy, kind of completion phase, getting into the ending phase of the lunar cycle. And then as we do get into next week, we'll probably notice this over the weekend. Mars trining Saturn does give us a bit of responsibility, a bit of a long-term view, a bit of patience and perseverance if we want to cultivate it. We're usually willing to see the long road when more immediate Mars is in good aspect to more long-term Saturn. So usually Mars is the part of ourselves that wants things now, but in a good aspect with Saturn, we're usually willing to wait. We're usually willing to be a little more patient and long-term in the process. So anything that is a long-term plan, thing that requires discipline or patience, a long-term responsibility, these are great things to cultivate and maybe utilize some of this supportive energy between these two very constructive planets in terms of building things and maybe productive kind of energy, or again, anything that requires responsibility is very supportive with this trine. All right, everyone, so that is the week in a nutshell. I went into a little more depth than we really need to here. I mean, really what this week is about implementing the lunar eclipse energy from last week. And so probably noticing things manifesting a little bit more, challenging ourselves to implement any new insights from last week. And then as we get to the tail end of the week, starting to close things out and finalize things from this month. But we do have that Mercury and Gemini kind of energy here midweek, good for, again, a bit of that mental or communicative sphere. There's a lot of support to do that. But again, balancing it out with some of that being soul connected and going with the flow a little bit, a little more connected to our soul, our spirit, our intuitive side. And in the day-to-day life, a little more of that easygoing or, prioritizing the spiritual health and mental health kind of side of things there. And then, completing as we get into the weekend, but maybe noticing a little bit of support for that long-term sort of view with Mars trine Saturn. All right, so everyone, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click the like button if you're watching this on YouTube. And we are doing weekly live streams now. So just maybe a few hours after these weekly forecasts are released, we're going to meet here for at least 30 minutes a week. Do check that out. If you're part of MTZ Insider's newsletter, you're already going to be notified with that. But if not, you can go to the YouTube channel and you'll see the live stream there. So look forward to seeing you all there, and have a great week, and see you all next time. Take care. Bye-bye.